Fizz here once again. This is going to be episode 3 of the HCSSF build diary for my EK Inquisitor that is still not been promoted to an EK Nova Inquisitor. I am rapidly approaching level 97. I haven't really been focusing on XP on this character. As you can probably tell by this point watching the past episodes, I've been focusing a lot on, just like gearing him up and getting stuff done. I was very adamant that I didn't want to do endgame bosses until I got my glorious vanity. Well, if you guys want to take a look at the tree, we can go over this first and changes that have been made to it. Now, first thing you'll notice right off the bat is very obviously that I now have glorious vanity. I also have some node spec down here as well. Now, how did I get the points from that? Well, basically, I was at the point where I was pumping life here. I had I had this small life node, and I had these small life nodes, and then I was actually pumping life here while I was waiting for the glorious vanity. So all I did was pull the life out of those places and put them into this. I also had to take out points of sanctity, and I'll go over that in a second as to why. Anyway, so we get glorious vanity. You want to roll it because people have been asking me. I've got this question a lot, surprisingly. Also, look at that implicit 20% increase life recovery from life leech. I don't have leech in the build right now. I do have a few cold leech rings, but they were from Delve and they're kind of rolled in sus ways, so I don't really want to replace my good rings with them. But anyway, you want to get it rolled with Doriani. If you get a glorious vanity and it doesn't have Doriani on it, don't worry, you can literally just divine orbit. There's only 3 things it can roll. Like if you hold alt over this, it can roll between 100 and 8,000. That's like split up into thirds. So realistically, your chances of getting a Doriani is like really, really high. It's not like something hard to get. It only took me 1 divine orb to hit Doriani. I've never had it take more than 2 or 3. And that's with any timeless jewel. But yeah, so the roll that you see there, the 5,990, is what like affects like the the general you get, but it also affects all these small nodes. And the way that timeless or rather glorious vanity works, excuse me, I just woke up, is that it vols or corrupts all the nodes around it. So you'll notice like all of these nodes are like totally scuffed and do completely different things, right? See, even the small nodes, very different. If I had more points, I'd love to pick some of these up. Some of these are nasty. Anyway, so you'll notice that I got at least ones that I already have allocated. I got avoid ailments, which is useless. I got 3% move speed, which is fine. Over here, I got 13 lightning res, which is sick. And then down here is the big one. Okay, I got it really lucky on this roll. My right notable turned into Ritual of Flesh, which is 7% increase maximum life and regenerate 0.97% of life per second. Now, this is almost as high as this could possibly roll, which is really good for me. So when you compare this against Sanctity, because I wanted the points to get down there, because to be clear, taking this for 2 points is probably not worth it. But because I was able to take this other notable that I'm not going to hover over yet and spoil, for 3 points, both of these together are very, very good. So if you compare it strictly against Sanctity, it's worth it. The life you gain and the life regen is basically the same. All you're losing is armor. However, from gear changes elsewhere, having killed a Cirrus, if you want to see any of the boss fights, by the way, they're uploaded on the channel. The new endgame bosses and A8 were a complete breeze with this build. You're only losing 20% armor. However, since we're using a Crown of the Inward Eye anyway, I have Moogles more armor. Don't know if that's a word. Than I had before. So Sanctity is less mandatory now, so I have a little bit of points to work with. Obviously, overall, I would love to have this node. It's a really good node for Inquisitor. But if I have to choose, I choose this. So we have this node, Ritual of Flesh, which is almost max rolled. And then what is the left node? Well, the left node is Ritual of Might. 34% increased physical damage. And remember, we're full conversion to Ellie. So this 1 point is almost like taking Divine Judgment, except it's a 1-pointer. So we get 34% increased physical damage and 4% chance to deal double damage. Now, if you plug this into PoB as is, which I did because I needed to actually like math out how worth this was like a 8 to 9% damage gain for the build overall. It's actually crazy. So yeah, 100% I had to make it work. It's too good to not, to not use. So 3 points here. Basically, like I said before, pulled out of the life nodes and also out of Sanctity to make it work. Late game in the build, I think, since I'm using a Crown of the Inward Eye, my only other source of Pierce is going to be on Hunter Influence boots. You can get +1 Pierce on those boots. So that's going to be really hard for me to roll, but I think endgame, that's what I want to do, so I can save 2 passive points here and not have to run the Poacher's Aim. It'll give me a lot more real estate to work with in terms of passive points. Because do remember, I need 3 passive points to run the EK Jewel, and I'm currently level 96, almost level 97. So as soon as I level up here, which, I'm like less than an hour away from at this point, or maybe an hour-ish. It's hard to tell. Depends on, how efficient I am. But level up, get Pierce on the boots, and then I have my EK Jewel squared away with my current tree, which I'm satisfied with. And then any levels past this would just go into life nodes, as is, just filling them out around the tree, and then that's pretty much it. This is pretty much the finished tree. So yeah. Ended up not going for a lot of power charge scaling, ended up not going for Throat Seeker, which I kind of theorized I wouldn't in the end build. Simply due to points and needing Glorious Vanity and stuff like that. But this is honestly a huge damage gain, and Ritual of Might is more damage than, like, way more damage than you would get from just getting 1 more power charge. So it's super worth it. Other than that, I mean, like, if you're playing softcore, or if you're okay with being a little bit more squishy, as you can tell, I have a shit ton of raw HP. You could drop a point here or there, and you could, get the power charges instead. Like, you could make it work. Like, technically, you don't need resourcefulness. Like, there's a few points you can snip here and there to, like, get more power charge scaling if you really want to. Ultimately, I would have really liked to have fit it in. However, it doesn't look like it's possible as long as I'm taking this mastery cluster. Moving on to gear changes. So the wand didn't change. If we look in the stash, you'll notice that my 6 exalts are now gone. I did prefixes could not be changed, slam with Veiled Orb multiple times, and didn't hit my cast speed or my spell damage mods, so rip that. It is what it is. My current wand is good enough. Obviously killing most endgame content with it at this point. Vermilion ring, I don't know if I had this in the last update video, so I'm gonna go over it. Really good ring. It's not perfect, but it is really nice. I have % cold damage, 11% cast speed, a little bit of flat ES, 16% all res, bench crafted on life. This is a ton of life on here, as well as cast speed. Getting it anywhere you can is really helpful. So you notice in the other slot, I'm still using this amethyst ring. I don't know if I'm going to replace this on this character. It's got 43 max ES flat. Again, another 12% cast speed roll, 11% all res, and flat life. Getting getting cast speed, excuse me, on both of your rings is really nice. A lot of people are linking me POBs, and I'm seeing, like, a lot of people asking for help, especially while I'm streaming, coming to my stream and asking me to look at their characters. And they don't have cast speed, like, anywhere. Something I see a lot is people, like, getting a bunch of spell crit, not crit multi, but crit chance on a lot of their gear. And I do need to stress that's, like, a very useless stat for this build. When you're in single target, by the time you're doing endgame bosses, you're going to be basically, if not literally, spell crit capped. Like, I am spell crit capped 100% whenever I have Assassin's Mark up. So the only time you need that crit chance, you already have it against bosses. You don't really need it for clearing. I think even without my diamond flask up, while I'm clearing, my crit chance is like 70 to 75-ish%, somewhere in there. And I just absolutely destroy everything in T16s, and that's without the diamond flask up. You don't need, and that's like rares and stuff included too. Like, everything just dies instantly. So you don't need to get more crit chance. It's literally just a useless stat, in my opinion. You definitely want flat added to spells. You definitely want cast speed, and you definitely want crit multi, as well as spell damage. Those are your 4 most important mods that you want to get. Simply because, again, increased spell damage has crazy synergy with zealotry because of the way it works. It's like poor man's low life, basically, without having to go low life. So yeah, anyway, other changes, nothing's really changed in terms of links. However, Crown of the Enradai, using this, it's rolled at 19 out of a possible 21% on the max life, mana, and ES. So there's one small caveat with using this. I'm going to hit Divine Blessing. You'll notice that it takes quite a chunk of HP. I do regen it back fairly quickly, but it's something to take note of and that you will have to play around. Play around when you're mapping or bossing. My Zealotry now costs 2200 life, just about. Before it was around 1600 to 1700. And I'm confusing characters at this point because it was 1800 also at one point. So it's like, let's say roughly 300 to 400 more life that it costs to cast, which is, again, not a really big deal. While you're mapping, you have so much like life on kill and stuff from nodes over here that basically I will pop this, attack once, and I'm instantly at full HP. Like if you have seen any footage of this of this build, instantly at full HP. Now, if you're uncomfortable with it, you can do, you notice that I have it bound to R and my Seething Divine Flask is on 1. So I will take my index finger and my ring finger and I'll put them on both. And then you want to, just like this. And there's basically, like if you're super nervous about it, you see there's like basically no, there's basically no way for you to like, I don't think even if you're the unluckiest person in the world and you're playing hardcore that you can get sniped in that like millisecond. Like I just don't think it's possible. If you're super paranoid about it, you know, by all means you can do that. That's what I did when I first got to maps when I didn't have a lot of regen yet. Also on that note, do remember, because a lot of people are like, dude, how do you play like that? It's so scary. It's not really, like not at all. We have a bunch of life on kill. It's really easy to get leech. You have the life flask rolled as well for the insta heal. And on top of that, you got to remember that Divine Blessing lasts for a whopping 10.9 seconds. So you almost have 11 seconds. You can pop this so preemptively, like before you walk around corners, before you open a door. Like you have so much time on this. Like typically what I do is I'll pop it. I'll kill a bunch of screens. I'll shield charge. I'll kill a bunch of screens, kill a bunch of screens, kill a bunch of screens, kill a bunch of screens. And then while I'm traveling to the next pack when there's no monsters, I'll pop it again. And it's really smooth. It's not risky. It's not, you know, it's completely fine, honestly, really. Anyway, moving on from that, we've gone over the passive tree. We have gone over gear changes because I think everything else is basically the same. I did hit the Pierce implicit and then went for the conversion on the gloves. So these are pretty much set. Other than that, I've swapped my jewel. I'm now using 28 life. Some res and cast speed if you've crit recently. 7% cast speed feels really nice. I'm also running cast speed on my onslaught flask here. So I don't have any frenzy charges right now, and obviously I can't crit, but you can see this is my cast speed just straight up. This is without frenzy charges, and this is without the additional cast speed from the jewel. But any cast speed you can get anywhere is going to be very nice. I've really wanted to try playing around getting onslaught on my tornado, which means basically removing Assassin's Mark. But there is like a bunch of finicky stuff that gets introduced if I were to do that. Assassin's Mark would have to basically like get put with a life tap setup. And I don't know where I would really fit that in, to be honest. Like Blood Rage is the easiest thing to replace, technically. Like if you're bossing, you don't use Blood Rage while bossing. So like technically I could recolor all my shit and then put Assassin's Mark down here or something, since you only have to cast it once per boss fight. Yeah, there's some finicky stuff you could do, but it would be really nice if I could fit Onslaught in the build, like Onslaught on hit on the Tornado, because that would, you know, Onslaught is a ton of cast speed, which is a bunch of single target damage, but it's not super important. Like, as you've seen in the past videos, like, I absolutely melt the endgame bosses. I was really surprised, honestly, with how fast Awakener died. Considering all Awakeners now are A8 mandatory, and I didn't have like Assassin's Mark up for like half the fight, if not more, and it was still like a 5-minute kill. And then Assassin's Mark are very, very important. Not only is it like a 30 to 40% damage increase for the build, but Assassin's Mark also is what is giving me my power charges. So while I don't have my power charges, I'm not getting any of these benefits. As well as the crit, you know, the crit chance that they give you. In addition to that, like, it's just, like, I lose so much. Like, again, my crit chance was probably, like, 60% instead of 100%, in addition to losing all the other bonuses. So that's really rough. So, I mean, I could have killed him super fast had I kept it up. So, yeah, Onslaught's not super important, but it would be nice. It's just, man, socket real estate's really harsh. I think, if anything, maybe, like, super long-term, or if you're in Trade League, just grab, like, an unset ring, maybe, and put, like, one of your auras in it. And then when you're bossing, you can take out Blood Rage, and that, because then Hatred would be gone, Blood Rage would be gone, and then you could put in your, Assassin's Mark and Life Tap here. And that would be a good setup. Right. Because this would be in an unset ring. And then, yeah, you would just put in Onslaught, assuming this is Onslaught, and then Assassin's Mark, or Blood Rage, and, oh my gosh, Life Tap, and Assassin's Mark would go here. And then you could link your Tornado up with Onslaught, and that would be really, really, really nice. That's like, what, 20% baseline increase cast speed, so that would be a massive damage increase for a single target. Anyway, other than that, is there anything else? I don't really think so, you guys. This is a short one. Yeah, we're kind of like nearing the end of like most potential upgrades, stuff that I still want to get done for the build. Like I said, better boots with Pierce on it would be nice. That would allow me to drop Poacher's Aim and give me 2 points to play with there. Other than that, potentially another Vermilion ring over here, but it's going to be really hard to replace this Amethyst ring, to be honest. Potentially a better shield in the long run. Potentially a better belt. There's like small incremental upgrades I can get here. Potentially a better Abyss Jewel. Yeah, like there's like lots of little stuff. I could stand to craft a better wand as well, but a lot of these upgrades are starting to get, you know, smaller and smaller as we go on. But I think that's everything. I guess I could just jump in a map real quick. I know it's kind of counterintuitive to do a map showcase at the end, but yeah, I don't think I'll clear the full map. I'll just kind of show you guys what we're working with real quick. So yeah, this is a T16 summit. It's absolutely no problem. Being real lazy. So you see there, I pop Zealotry. As soon as I hit something, I'm instantly in full life again. Like it's really no big deal. You perma-freeze everything. The freeze prolif's super good. Influence mobs spawn in. They do literally nothing. It's, yeah, like it's real juicy. See, like right there, I popped it. Life went down a little bit. Didn't even have to hit the life flask. I just hit something and I was instantly topped off. It's really not a big deal. Even when you have the like Blood Rage, it basically like halves your sustain, like your regen from this build, but it's honestly like such a small deal simply because you have so much life on kill, and people meme on the life on kill masteries, or the notables on the tree. Not notables rather, but travel nodes, including me. But the thing is like, realistically, it's really, really nice while clearing. Because you're killing such giant packs of monsters at a time, especially in the modern game, right? That like, you just every single one of those things is 15 life and 15 ES, and you know you're killing like hundreds of monsters a screen now with all this crazy density. Like remember, this is just a transmuted map. It wasn't chiseled, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't alked, it wasn't vaulted. There's no sextants, there's no scarabs. Like this is just baseline juice basically. This is as raw as you can get in terms of juice. So I guess I can rush the map boss for you guys, let you see what it's like. And see, even if I'm not keeping Zealotry up in a T16 map, you still just like kill everything. I'll let the Diamond Shrine fall off before I fight the boss, so you guys can see it's not false advertising. All right. So this is my damage basically without Tornado, because my Tornado was in fucking Zimbabwe there. That's something I've noticed with the build now, is that I kill bosses before the Tornado even turns on, because the Tornado takes 3 seconds of like damage It's got the first like duration of it where it's targetable and you can hit it to boost the damage of it when it's storing the damage. Before that 3 seconds is up, when it actually turns on and starts hitting things, it's typically the boss is just dead. Like, literally no problem. Yeah, the build absolutely fucks, to be honest. It's super good. It's great at bossing. I guess one thing that I did forget to mention was I did end up changing my Anoint. I didn't have this when I fought the other endgame bosses. I've now killed the Eater of Worlds multiple times, trying to get the D2 amulet. I can't remember what it's called, Ashes of the Stars or something. Trying to get that amulet, so I've been farming Eater of Worlds, and I didn't have this the first time I killed him, but after that, I swapped to Ash, Frost, and Storm off of Longshot, simply because this is good for mapping, but this one's going to be a lot better for bossing. So I just took the bossing Anoint. That's more consistent damage and shocks on bosses, and it's been a blast. I think that's everything for this video, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Scaling the build as much as I can from here. I have a lot of other build diaries planned. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to take this to 100. I don't know. It's really awkward. It would be a way easier question to answer, honestly, if I wasn't still looking for the threshold tool for my fucking build, to be honest. I still haven't gotten to really experience full EK Nova gameplay, you know, at this point. So I probably will keep playing the build, or at least coming back to it, you know, intermittently. But I'm still having a blast with the build. But one thing I just can't get off of my mind, I dropped the Omniscience amulet from Searing Exarch, I think. I can't remember who drops the amulet, but I dropped the amulet, and I just can't stop thinking about elemental stacking Tornado Shot Deadeye and how with that amulet it could actually be viable in HCSSF. I just can't stop thinking about it. I've wanted to play Tornado Shot since I started playing this game, but you know, by nature of the game mode that I play, it's never been viable. But I love Tornado Shot like as a skill. I think it's very, very interesting. It's very unique. So I can't stop. I already theory crafted a POB. I'm probably going to level it on stream today. Not the whole stream. I'm not going to play the whole stream, but I do at least want to try it. I have heard that some people are playing an Omniscience Tornado Shot, like, stat stacking build, like in softcore and stuff. I haven't looked at any of that stuff. I haven't looked at anybody's trees or anything. I theory crafted my own build. And part of that is because I've never theory crafted bow builds really before this patch. It's just they've never been viable in my game mode, so I've never like had to like learn or put in time. So I theory crafted my own tree. Hopefully it's good. It looks pretty solid on paper. But yeah, that's something I'm like really aching to at the very least just try it and see how it feels, because it seems really nice. But yeah, there's Winter Orb Occultist, there's Bone Shatter Slayer, there's so many builds to do, which makes it really hard because Elden Ring's coming out in a few days, and I'm sure stream's gonna pressure me into playing that shit. But yeah, I have so much stuff I want to do. I'm having a blast with the game right now. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the video. Definitely on the shorter side this time, but there wasn't a whole lot to showcase. Anyway, I appreciate your guys' support. I am trying to push to 1,000 subs, so if you've been on the fence recently and you like the content I'm putting out, please consider subbing. Other than that, if you like the video, you like the content, give me a thumbs up. It really does help. If you feel like I have room to improve or something, feel free to leave me a thumbs down. Tell me what you think I could do better. I do read all the comments. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to stop by the stream, which will go up after, or which will be live after this video goes up on YouTube. Feel free to stop by the Discord. I'm very active in my Discord. Everyone that types in the build help channel gets a response as fast as possible, even if I'm streaming, no matter what I'm doing. I check it, you know, like 20 times a day. Other than that, you know, just leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the build. Let me know if you have any questions with the build. And I think that's going to be everything. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.